Hello everyone, today's deck is going to be a Machop, Machamp, Marowak EX deck, but before I get into the deck build and what is in that deck, I want to kind of preface where the deck came from. So yesterday I entered the Pocket Legends League tournament where you have to get 8 wins out of 10 rounds to be able to progress into the top cut. And I ran a Venusaur EX, Executor EX deck, and I won 7 out of 3. So I was just off of making the top cut. And with that, being a data nerd, I saw a lot of kind of cool trends by diving into the metagame. We see very commonly a lot of Mewtwo, a lot of Pikachu, and then a decent amount of Charizard, but it doesn't quite do as well as these other two, and so you don't see as much of it. And so Pikachu and Mewtwo are kind of the litmus test of decks to beat, and mine didn't quite get to where it needed to be. But in looking at this, I was also looking at the win rate, and one deck that made it into the top cut kind of stood out, and that is a Machamp EX, Marowak EX. So looking at the top cut, it's the top 24. So up to Fnatic, we have Mewtwo, Pikachu, Charizard, Mewtwo, Pikachu. We have a couple of Arbok Weezings, but it is very much dominated by Pikachu and Mewtwo, and so this one stood out from Wind Up Bird. It is the Machamp EX Marowak EX deck, and so I took it for a spin on the ranked event ladder, and honestly, I was pleasantly surprised. It has a lot of tools to be able to potentially beat those big dominant decks. It has some lines that are really fast, get online, get pumping a lot of damage very quickly, a couple that are potentially flip dependent, so your Marowak EX. But that's one of those things that I think you need to be able to stand a chance consistently against those other decks. And then if you ever get your Machamp online, massive damage coming your way. So the deck itself, it is a double Machop, double Machoke, double Machamp. We have double Cubone, a single regular Marowak. Sometimes if we go first, being able to evolve into a regular Marowak can give us and buy us or stall us for time until we get our Machamp EX online in the background, and we can start attacking with Marowak regular on turn number 3 whenever we can first evolve him. And then we have 2 copies of Marowak EX because he is going to be our massive damage dealer if we get him online fast enough. For our support cards, we have 1 potion, 1 red card, double Pokeball, double Professor's Research, a single Giovanni, and then a double Sabrina. So you could probably on ladder, I've heard people say that you can take out the red card, but the further and further I get in the ranked PvP event, the more often I'm finding that a well-timed red card can just win me those games when they've gotten a little bit greedy with a Professor's Research. They're holding a few too many cards. They're trying to evolve into like a stage 3, and we send all of their cards back, and it makes it very hard for them to recover if we hit them at a well-timed spot. And so overall, the deck was phenomenal. Of course, we'll have to wait until the top cut runs later today to know if it's able to hold its own against the onslaught of Pikachu, the onslaught of Mewtwo. But either way, for a deck that is relatively untalked about, very, very cool that it made it into the top 24. We'll see where it places. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I'll let you guys know. I'll do an update in the comment section down below of where it ends up ranking. And then there's one other deck that I have my eye on from those overall stats. I'm going to keep an eye on how it performs, and then we may cover that deck tomorrow. But either way, we're going to jump over into a couple of games. Thank you guys, as always, for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. 1 heads to make this happen. Give it a shot. There it is. So now the Venusaur evolution line is now out of worry. So they'll have to get another Bulbasaur, another Ivysaur, which makes it much more difficult for them to get that big beefy tank online. Now it's going to be the Executor or Executor EX, depending on what version they're running. And that comes down to very lucky coin flips on their end. If they throw anything additional, we do have the Sabrina to force them into like a weaker Pokemon. So like if they try to get a Bulbasaur down to start evolving him, we can make them switch it out. And so no evolution on the Execute. Right, that is fine. Actually, we just knock him out as long as we get A heads here. We knock him out. I'm gonna go ahead and throw a potion just for good measure. We have the fighting energy. And the deck that the opponent is running. Oh, Double Tails is a big whiff. The deck that the opponent is running is not a bad deck by any means. I was able to take on several Pikachus. I was able to take on several Mewtwo's in the tournament. It was like 1,000 player. It was like a 600, almost 700 player tournament. And I was one win away from making top cut. Now, this deck that we are playing did make the top cut. It's one of the few unique decks that made it. Otherwise, it's a lot of Pikachu. It's a lot of Mewtwo. And that's pretty much dominating the top 24 that we had. Again, we need 1 heads. There it is. I never thought flipping coins would be so stressful, but it can be. We could have ended the game last turn had we got a heads. Now we're still a little bit at their mercy, but we do have another Marowak, so we can throw in another strong attack. We have 4 cards left, and in those 4 are 2 Machops for our Machop evolution line. Super unfortunate with that being at the bottom, because that's our guaranteed like powerhouse. But the good thing is Marowak has a 1 energy retreat cost. They do get their next Bulbasaur down. That's fine. We're not going to give them time to set it up. So there is one of the 2 Machops. He was choking at the bottom. So now when we evolve him to Machamp, he's already ready to go. And it won't matter like the setup time or anything like that. Actually, it's not as flashy, it's not as fun, but we are going to end with a Machop strength attack here. And we wipe out this board. The biggest way for them, it looks like the opponent didn't really have a great draw. The best start for the opponent is Execute and Executor, so that they have that big kind of tanky stall unit up front early into the Bulbasaur in the back line that you're building up. Either way, we were able to kind of burst down before they had their Venusaur online, and we will take the win. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. We're nearing in on our 45 wins for the PvP event, and so the games, I think, are with that getting a little bit more difficult as we go on. I assume that you match up with people that have a similar set of wins. And so as we get closer to 45, I think we're going against other people that are close to 45. Is how I imagine it works. The Mewtwo Golett is interesting. It's an interesting include, just kind of I guess a big body. We have Machop, but no Machamp. We have Sabrina, but we want to save Sabrina for a key time whenever it could be a difference maker in the game for us. Ghastly? Definitely not an optimized version of the build. Okay, I'm going to hold off on the evolution just so we can get some damage with the Machop. It says a 3 energy retreat cost. They're looking to just have a staller up front into a big like Mewtwo bombardment after that. The red card, unfortunate. But we draw into our other Cubone, which we don't care about. Pokeball will let us draw into our... We definitely don't need double Pokeball here. That is a waste of a draw for us. We could have gotten all of them out anyways. So we're still digging for those key pieces, but we get them in choke. We don't quite knock out the Golett, but I think that's their goal of having him out there. Is he's gonna hold down the fort until they get Mewtwo online. And they have the Gardevoir going. No Machamp. Let's just do strength, knock out their first one. We can't even do a Sabrina to push in like the Ghastly. Or to push in like their Gardevoir because of Ghastly. So it's going to come down to getting double heads again on the Marowak, which feels like a bad way to approach this matchup entirely. Alright, so the Cubone. We get Sabrina, but of course it would put in Ghastly and not Gardevoir, which is the problem. For good measure and good flair, we're gonna go Geo, and we're gonna send it. Double heads, or we lose the first match here. Good start. Let's go. And so that it's sometimes Marowak EX does Marowak EX things. That's one of those things about the game that can be really enjoyable or really frustrating, depending on if you get the lucky side of a flip or not. We'll take the win. We probably didn't deserve that one. They got set up. They were really potent, really scary, and we were able to steal it away. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Slowpoke. I almost said the first location back in Marvel Snap. We are going first, so not fantastic. We do get the chance to evolve first. We don't really want to take it. That's not something that we typically try to abuse with this deck. Now, one thing that we are going to need is some damage early and often here. The Machop line would be better for us, but no such luck there. Let's throw out the second Cubone, and we're hoping for Machop. Or regular Marowak, not the Marowak EX. We have a singular regular Marowak version in this build. That could be amazing for us. That would be exactly what we want to see coming off the drop, because then we could start attacking next turn. We could go with the evolution. We'd be pumping 60 damage every single turn against them. Unfortunately, that is not the case here. I'm just going to let them knock out the... No, we're going to use a Sabrina. We have two. Since we have two built into the deck, we're going to go ahead and do our first Sabrina, make them either use and burn an X speed, or waste a turn with their energy. And so Cubone's coming down. I did stack the energy onto this one in the back, so we can set up for a Marowak EX, because I think this one is going to get roasted. I don't think there's a surviving this. And a little bit less optimal version, but it's a Heliolisk build instead of, like, I've seen some Pincurchin floating around, and I've seen a few other good ones. So they do attack with the Zapdos. We don't have Machop, which we desperately need here. Or Cubone, or Marowak EX. Not Cubone, Marowak EX. But without our attackers, it's not looking pretty. Okay, knock out our first Cubone. We're going to top deck Marowak EX here. Guaranteed. Is that or Professor's Research? One of the two Professor's Research. Either or. Machop, you're coming in a bit late to the party, my friend. Well. One of those bad draw, bad hand. It happens. Try to mitigate the chance that it can happen, but it still happens. So 50, 60, 70. We can solo survive one here unless they have a Giovanni. Like, it would take one heck of a comeback. But I guess they can just attach an energy onto Zapdos EX. It would come down to all of the coin flips, which can be frustrating. I've seen Zapdos get 4 heads. I've seen it get 4 tails. Super big variance. Oh, no, not the red card. I thought people on regular matches dropped the red card. Okay, so singular potion. As long as they don't have Giovanni. Wait. Big. Oh, never mind. We would have to have Giovanni here. Off the draw. That's not Giovanni. All right, so we could do Professor's Research and dig for Giovanni, but we wouldn't be able to use it this turn. And because of that, I'm going to pop a Sabrina. I know that we're going to knock out the Heliolisk, but it gives us another turn to draw into the Giovanni to knock out Zapdos in one turn if we survive the onslaught of the Zapdos attack here. And so it puts us back in that driver's seat just a little bit. We're not advantaged. I think we're still disadvantaged, but we do have an out that we can draw for. Either one. I think we only built in one Giovanni for the red card. Maybe not advantaged anymore. All tails would be beautiful. A good start. Giovanni, part of the cards. There are no pathetic cards in my deck, Kaiba. Go ahead and let's go ahead and end it here. Oh, that was the 1 out of 10. Oh, you love and hate to see it at the same time. Whew. That bird had a massive attack against us, had us on the ropes, down to 10 HP, and the one singular card we needed was Giovanni. We'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, we're going first again. So we still have to start with Cubone. We don't have another option, but at least this time we do have a Marowak EX. Last game was so frustrating not having one of those available. And so we just sat with our double Cubone with nothing to do. At least this time we'll be able to evolve into a Marowak EX. We won't be able to on turn 1 and attack, but I think that's probably okay. We will be able to attach 1 energy and then evolve it on the second turn. This looks like it's going to be a Dragonite deck with a stall mechanism of Frostmoth. So as long as we can delay their stall or stop them from getting Dragonite online, easy peasy. All right, let's go 1 energy. We're going to Growl. And the reason I don't want to evolve this turn is I don't think we're at risk of losing our Cubone on this upcoming attack. But I guess if they evolve it and have Giovanni's not super common in Dragonite decks, though. And so now, whenever our Pokemon is asleep, even if we failed the check, we could evolve into Marowak EX. And that was the main idea here. So let's go Marowak EX. Let's go with our fighting energy. And we're also going to go Giovanni. That way we only need 1 heads to be able to knock out the Frostmoth. Beautiful start. And we're rewarded with 2 anyways. So a waste of a heads. That's okay. We knock out Frostmoth. That is one of their delay tools. They're going to have to either put energy onto another Snom / Frostmoth, or take the hit and just start trying to build onto Dragonite, Dratini, Dragonair instead. So they are going to take the hit, but as long as we continue to apply just consistent pressure, and if they don't throw anything else onto the board, we have our Sabrina that is staring them down. We need 1 heads to knock out the Dratini line. You absolutely love to see. We're going to start building up the second Cubone. No Machop. Machop is being pretty shy, but it's one of those cards that if you can get them online, massive. So let's go with the Sabrina, make them draw or play into that Dratini, which is definitely not what they want to be doing. We could do Potion, but I'm going to save it. We just need 1 heads. 50-50. Beautiful. Wow, 2 double heads in a row. That would have been great for a couple of games ago against like Mewtwo or against the Zapdos. Sometimes Marowak EX just throws out bombs. Other times, he throws out nothing. So very quick match because of the Marowak EX just output of damage that he can possibly do. We're going to take it. Let's jump over into the next one. Next up, we have Sini F. We are going second, so the Machop line into, Machop into Machop line looks decent for us. And it is a Pikachu EX Blitzel Zebstrika build, which feels pretty good, especially in like the mirror match. I've seen a lot of people leaning towards like the Blitzel Zebstrika. Also, I've started seeing some tech of like Pincurchin, which can cause that paralysis for that. That's a 50-50 coin flip of whether you make the opponent miss their turn or not. And it looks like that is what the opponent is going with, is a Zebstrika and then a paralysis Pincurchin. So go ahead and do 1 energy on Machop. I'm going to save Professor's Research. I don't want them to hit us or have any more reason to hit us with a red card. And so with Machop online early, we have that typing advantage, fast and furious. And so it's going to take a big upside for them to be able to like match our output, especially not having like the big burst of the like Pikachu EX or potentially the like Zapdos. So second energy onto Machop, and we're gonna throw Machop here. Go ahead and do Marowak just to protect that back line. And then I'm also, again, I'm not gonna waste Professor's Research. I don't need to rush into the Machamp line, but I also don't want to rush into drawing those cards into them potentially having a red card. So we have our first knockout, but everything from here on, we have the Machop, potentially at any point a Machamp evolution online, ready to go. We have the 1-hit KO just as a Machop against the Pincurchin, so they're in a very rough spot. Being able to have us on board that fast is so detrimental for them. We will take the concede. Let's jump over into the next one. Next up is Optimus Barney. We go first, which is not always the coin flip that we want to win, but I feel like I have a really good running on winning that first coin flip, whether I want to or not. And so we're going against a metal deck. There was one metal deck that I ran into during the tournament. Was okay. It started off strong, but it eventually kind of teetered out. I was able to beat it with my Venusaur deck, and it just wasn't able to get enough online fast enough. But if left time to like set up early enough, it can do decently into like Mewtwo, into Pikachu, but it's very situational. Let's go ahead and skip. We're not going to use the Professor's Research in case they have a red card. The further on in this event ladder that we're getting, we're around 40 wins right now. The more red card I'm seeing more consistently. So it is looking up to set up into that like big tanky unit. And they can start doing some decent damage early. This can do 70 damage with 2 energy with that evolution. We need to look out for. We could potentially knock him out here if we got lucky with a Giovanni, but we don't. I think I'm going to go ahead and throw a Sabrina. The regular Marowak, which can start attacking on 1. Now, had we had Giovanni, we could have knocked him out. Now, they won't be able to evolve into the 70 damage attacker unless they have an X speed. If they have an X speed, we're probably toast here. An X speed and the evolution for Tanyard. So the single energy here, they're going to continue to, looks like, apply pressure, but they're not getting their Meltan ramped up, and that was like my biggest draw for the deck, was try to get him ramped up early and often. So Professor's Research, we draw into either Machop or Cubone, either one would be fine. And then now we can go Professor's Research. We're hoping for no red card. Get another Professor's, and then Sabrina. Okay. Start setting up for Machop or Machop to come online. Now, they could evolve him still. They could evolve him into that 70 damage dealer, which is scary. And then attach the second energy. And so applying the very fast and early pressure. Yeah, that's what they're doing. Got the Bisharp Metal Claws. Okay, and so with Professor's Research, we are going to throw into this Machop, and we're hoping for the Machoke. Our biggest hope right now. We don't even need the Professor's Research to pull into the Machoke line. Beautiful. Did we ever hit him with Sabrina, our last Sabrina? Nah, they can't one-hit KO us. This is the highest output they can do with the Giovanni. 80 is max. Let's save our second Professor's Research for next turn. I don't want them to potentially have a red card and us draw into Machamp, and then we sit like, really, really poorly. So there is Monile. Mile. Crazy that they're adding energy onto everything but the evolution here. They do have Giovanni. So are they hoping to be able to finish us off with a 20 damage crunch next turn? Is that the game plan? If so, then we just have the backup line of like the second Machoke. But no such luck. We draw into Machamp with the Professor's Research, so we're good to go there. We get our Cubone down as well. And so we could start setting up for a Marowak EX. But for now, let's go with the third energy. We have the Machamp. Knowing this deck, the highest they can do is the 30 damage for 1 energy off of the pre-evolution of Bisharp. Monile is just to potentially get us to discard our energy. And then this one, the evolution can be very good, but you need to get them online fast and furious to be able to start knocking out those opponent Pokemon as quickly as you possibly can. Because his attack does 120, and he's a tank, and so very, very worthwhile to have him online. I would almost say that's the primary thing that you're going to play. The Bisharp is decent for some earlier tempo, but you really need to probably do like one turn of a mass and then evolve them and then have a 4 energy. I think it's Meld. I don't remember the name of the evolution form. You need the 4 energy on turn 3 to be able to start dominating with those 120 power attacks. And so they developed a little bit too slowly. We will grab the retreat. And that's actually where I'm going to go ahead and end the video. We faced off against a decent array of decks. I don't think we were able to run into any Mewtwo decks, which Mewtwo, Pikachu are the like dominant presence in any kind of tournament that we've seen so far. And so any deck that we're running, those are the litmus tests to know if it is even viable. We need to be able to consistently beat both of those to be able to even have a shot of doing well in like a consecutive matchup or a tournament setting. And so this one, we'll see how it does once the top cut runs a little bit later today. I'm hoping that it can stand out amongst all of the Mewtwo and Pikachus that we're seeing. But either way, thank you guys as always for being here. If you guys have a deck that you want me to try out or you want me to check out, let me know in the comment section down below. And as always, this has been TLSG. Later, guys.